Okay, so I always use a cake board when I frost my cake, but you can put it directly on your cake plate, doesn't matter. This is something I would never trade. This is I have two cake turner table things. I don't even know what they're called. Cake turner things. They're both Wilton. I think they're very similar in price. $12 or $10 or $12, I think. Maybe this one's more since it's elevated. And it just depends on what kind of what cake I'm frosting. If I'm doing a really wide one, I'll use this one. If I need it to be higher because of my level, I'll use this one. Since I'm going to be standing for this, I'm going to use this one. And yeah, it takes up space. You can use a Lazy Susan if you have one, so you don't have to buy one of these. It does take up space, but I wouldn't trade this for anything. It makes the process so much easier. Frosting cake would drive me crazy if I didn't have this. Oh, I was going to say that I also use this for making pie when I flute the edges of a pie. So, you know, it's not only good for one thing. You can go like this, chink, 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 chink. See? Alright, I like to put the flattest cake on the bottom. That one looks flatter to me. Oh, it's so soft from being sprayed with water. It's so nice and moist. Okay, and then I center it as well as I can, making sure it looks perfectly centered. I use a cake board that's 2 inches larger than my cake because, you know, the frosting's going to come out some. I made 8-inch cakes, and I like making 8-inch cakes because that makes a fatter cake. Like, if you make a 9-inch cake, it's not as fat, and I like the slices to look like all fat. So that's why I do that. So I get a 10-inch cake board. And I got that at a cake supply store, and I know Walmart carries them too, but I don't think they're coated like this. You have to put your own foil on it or whatever. This is some raspberry buttercream. It's American buttercream, you know, with like a powdered sugar, butter, cream cheese base, and raspberry jam and raspberry extract in it. I'm going to put, because this is going to be a dark chocolate raspberry cake, I'm going to put, I don't know, I put about a cup of frosting in the middle. That looks about right. That's probably too much. And I use a offset spatula. That just makes it very nice for making an even surface. It's harder to do it with a straight one. This one I got from my mom. I got a lot of cake decorating stuff from her because that's probably why I like cake so much. Because when I was little, that's when she started doing cakes. And she's a crazy health nut. She actually is crazy, but she's a health nut too. So for her to be doing cakes was like this huge deal for me. I was like, oh, there's cake in the house. She threw away a cake once in the trash can because she's a perfectionist too, and she was so mad that her cake wasn't perfectly flat that she threw it in the garbage. And cake was like so amazing to me that, well, all of us, me and my sisters, but all went out there and we're like picking it out of the trash and eating it. We didn't care. Dude, we did not care. We were eating that cake. We were like, yay, Mom, make some more unflat cakes for us. So anyway, I'm just like trying to make a flat surface around the cake. And that makes it really easy to have flat surface. Get your next cake. And you're going to put this cut side down on top. And I try to make sure it's perfect. Okay, then I go around the crack. Can you see that angle what I'm doing? And kind of fill in the space between the two cakes with frosting before I actually frost the cake. I actually usually use a pastry bag to do this, but since you probably wouldn't do that, I'll do it this way. For frosting the cake, what I usually use is I have this 16-inch pastry bag. You can tell it's well loved and used. I've used it for years. They last forever. And I put this frosting tip in it. Can you see the tip from the camera? Can you see it very good? The opening right here, the flat opening.
There. Yeah.
Okay. This is really handy for frosting. You can see how old my tip is. This is also from my mother, so it is at least 15 years old. Gosh, probably 20 years old. Oh, so old. Anyway, I usually would fill this up and squirt the frosting flat all over. And I love this because, you know, you already have a flat, even surface of frosting everywhere, and all you have to do is smear it out a little bit to make it perfect. Well, I know most people at home are not going to have this, so I'm going to do it like you're going to do it. So, you know, when I do it with that, I start on the sides, but when I do it this way, I like to like plop a whole bunch of frosting on top, so that's the way I'm going to do it. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to, but it's the way I do it. I'm not claiming to be a professional, although I guess I have been in the past because I used to sell cakes, so, but I'm not claiming to be currently a professional. And you can kind of tell from the consistency of my frosting, it's not super thin, and you want a sort of thick frosting when you're making a layer cake. When you're doing cupcakes, it can be pretty goopy because it's just going to sit on top. When you're doing a layer cake, you want the frosting to be firm enough that it's not going to leak out between your layers. That is so ugly. I see so many people do that. And yeah, frosting does taste a little better, like especially cream cheese when you don't drown it with sugar to make it this thick. But this is still really good, and it makes a prettier cake. And I try to make a really nice balance between prettiness and the taste. Always taste comes first, and if this ruined it, I would have really ugly cakes, because to me that's the most important thing. But I don't think this ruins it. It doesn't. My cakes are delicious, I promise. Just listen to me. Just do it. And I'll put the link to this recipe on this video so you can find it if you want to make this particular cake. Okay, I got the frosting on the top. Okay, maybe you should come, let's see. I want to do, see, it'll be a natural, well, I'll see what I can do, if I can make this work from that angle. I start at the top. Whoa, that's craziness. I put a lot, okay. And work my way down, and then I kind of just take the extra and start moving it. I go counterclockwise, doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. And I don't really care if I get it too thick right now because I can always take it off. But I'm just getting it done. I'm getting her done. And this frosting recipe makes plenty, so you don't have to be scared you're going to run out. Oh look, this is important. See how my cake is not centered on the stand? That's not good. Make sure your cake is centered on the stand if you're using a turner, because as you turn it, your spatula is going to follow the center and it's going to get all messed up. Can you tell what I'm doing from this angle? Maybe I should go like this. I'm just kind of scraping it along to make the sides flatter. I think I'm going to have to add more at the top.
That's what it looks like.
What?
Scraping along the sides.
I didn't know if you could tell what I was doing. I'm going to add some more where it looks like it's got like impressions dipping in. And then I'm flinging frosting everywhere. Okay. Gosh, I wish I didn't have to do it from this angle. Can you see what I'm doing?
Looks like you're scraping against the side.
Could you come over to my side so that you can look at it from my angle so I won't have to be all awkward? Can you come over here? I just snapped at you. Yes, that will help me so much. Thank you. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. You're scraping around the sides.
Yep, scraping, scraping, scraping. You just put your spatula up and down. And I didn't make my frosting exactly like evenly thick. So it's probably not gonna be perfect, but dessert, this isn't like, I don't know. I'm more about the taste and the looks, like I said. So I'm not gonna go crazy. Can I help you?
Sure.
Crazier? Yeah, I'm not gonna go crazier. Okay, let's see, does that look straight up and down? It's good enough. And as for the top, okay, this is where it comes in. You can go back to your hiding place or your regular stand. This is what I was talking about with the water bottle. This is where this comes in. Now, you might not care about your cake finish being perfect if you're not going to decorate it. But if you do want to get a really smooth surface, if you're using a powdered sugar based frosting, this is when you would use this. If you're using like an egg based frosting, you don't need water. Don't even, that stuff is so smooth you don't even need it. But just squirt your cake all over with water. That creates a slick surface. Let me get it. And you want to have a clean spatula, so gotta wipe this off.
This technique is similar to grouting a tiled floor.
Really?
Yeah.
With the water? They use water?
Yeah, you
I
just
don't
keep
know
watering it
nothing.
down and then keep messing with it until it looks smooth.
I always try to get my sides perfect before I start on the top. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay. This is so not perfect. Okay. And see how it just glides over the top? It's so nice. Just so nice. But I have these little oogie nuggy luggies. I hate them. Why did you do this to me, cake? You're so mean. Why can't you just be perfect for me?
You'll find the exact definition of Oogie Boogie Noogies on page 34 of the Wilton Guide to Cake Making.
Thanks, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
See how shiny and smooth your cake can be with water. Voila! Okay. Okay. I'm gonna cover the sides with nuts so it doesn't have to be utterly perfect. And besides, I'm gonna have like, this is a dark chocolate raspberry cake. I'm gonna have raspberries on the top. There's gonna be dark chocolate drizzled everywhere, so you won't even be able to tell that it's not completely perfect. And look at this. Extra frosting. You could mix some of this with your extra cake and make raspberry chocolate cake pops.
Or put it in your cereal.
For a nutritious breakfast.